Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to this week's episode. Today we have another returning guest. I am so excited to once again introduce you to Elisabeth, the owner of Pop of Color Balloon Design. She and I are kindred spirits in the sense that we want our businesses to work for our lives and not the other way around. So in this episode, we are talking about how she and I have continued down similar paths about limiting the size of our businesses and certain advantages and disadvantages that might present you if you are following down a similar path. So it was such a nice, relaxed interview. I really enjoyed this one. I think you're going to as well. But Elisabeth is here thanks to our friends who have curated this month, and that is the gang over at HiFloat. So they have selected Elisabeth as one of their guests for their curated month. And if you're not familiar with HiFloat, let me introduce you. HiFloat and HiShine are two of my absolute favorite balloon products that I use in my business all the time. They stay in my installation kit. And if you are looking to get more float time out of your helium balloons, and like a lot of float time, up to 25 times longer. Or if you want to give your decor a gorgeous, long-lasting shine, these products are must-haves. So a huge thank you to HiFloat and HiShine for supporting the show and creating a lineup of trusted balloon professionals to share their stories this month on the Bright Balloon podcast. Let's take a quick break and head over to the U-Glue hotline for some great advice that sticks, and then get into this interview with Elisabeth from Pop of Color. Welcome to the U-Glue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks, brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi, my name is Denise Seymour. I am from My Little Balloon Company in Modesto, California. I'm starting my 40th year in business. Yay, close to retirement. So my suggestion for today is the binder clips and the clamps that you use to hold your design to the walls and framing. I would like to encourage you to take a few minutes and spray paint those white or the color of the balloon design so that they are not just black clamps attached to the wall. Also, the clamps, the binder clips are black, so they can all be painted. And the clamps, they usually have like orange handles on them or something bright. What I would like for you to do is paint those, but remember that it takes at least 48 hours for the paint to dry on the plastic. It's not a fast drying process. So how I do it is I attach them to a 3-foot, half-inch EMT. That way I can spray from all different angles while I'm holding it in my hand. And then I place it in a balloon stand to dry. I hope that helps somebody to look more professional, and it helps where you do not see those unsightly black binder clips and clamps. Have a good day.
Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations. You can save on U-Glue when you use the promo code PODCAST at checkout when you shop at our friends havinaparty.com. Welcome back, Elisabeth. I'm so excited to have you on. It's been quite a while since we last spoke, and we'll link to your original episode. But give us an update and introduce yourself to some of our new listeners.
Yeah. So thank you again so much for having me, Sarah. I love coming on here. I obviously am a big fan of listening to your podcast as well. So it's always so fun to be here.
You.
My name is Elisabeth. I own Pop of Color Balloon Design. I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona. And this is, what year is it now? This is a little over 4 years now that I have been in business. I've been doing balloons for almost 8 years now. I'm trying to do the math with how old my oldest is because I started doing balloons before her first birthday. So it's been quite the journey, but things are going good. Things are going
Yeah.
smoothly and great.
Well, good. And we're going to talk about kind of the evolution of your business and my business. I think we're in very similar situations where you start and you hustle and you're so hungry for business and you grow. And then I have kind of found myself in this place where I don't want to say I'm done. I'm never done, but I don't want to grow much larger. And I think you're in a similar or maybe, adjacent situation. Why don't you explain kind of the scale and the growth of your business?
Sure. So I have always run a very lean business. This is something that you and I really clicked on the first time we spoke. But I have never been the person who wanted to have like this big, 7-figure organization underneath me. The reason that I even started doing balloons, I don't know if I mentioned this the last time I was on here. I think it's a funny story, but every time I tell somebody this story, they're like, that makes sense. I started this balloon business right after COVID. I had a newborn at home. I was like struggling with stay-at-home mom life with a toddler and a newborn, and it was stressful. And so as soon as I kind of got out of that newborn phase with my youngest, I was like, I need something for myself again. So I'm talking to my husband. He's like, you really like balloons. Maybe you should just make a balloon LLC. And I was like, yeah, that would be fun. And the entire goal was so that we could write off more on our taxes.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, I ended up starting the business like right at the right time. I feel like I got very lucky. I say this a lot, but I think that success is a combination of hard work and also luck.
Mm.
I got very lucky in that I started right when balloons started taking off and got busy pretty quickly. And I was just kind of holding on for dear life all the way through. So I have always really worked by myself. I've gone through periods of time where I've had a handful of interns who are working like 20 to 30 hours a week for me, times when I just have inflators, which is where I'm at right now, and then also times where I've just been working by myself. So I've always wanted to stay really lean, and I still work out of my house. So that's kind of where I am now, but I'm at the point in my career with balloons where I want to start transitioning away from doing so many in-person full service setups and really start focusing more on the classes that I teach and just kind of exploring that side of my business. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah. And what are some of the ways that you stay lean in your business? Because yes, this is something I love. And I think people maybe misunderstand it as being a control freak or sometimes being cheap. Like I think there's different ways to interpret that. But what is your definition of working lean?
So my definition of working lean is, again, I work out of my house, so I'm not paying rent for a space. Again, I feel really lucky that I have a large enough space to be able to do that because not everybody does, but I am lucky that I could convert my garage into that. I don't have a truck or a van. I still am renting U-Hauls every single weekend.
Wow. Okay, that is
Yeah.
lean. That's so exhausting. I finally gave up.
Yeah. And we can talk about that too, because the other thing that I always tell people, especially when it comes to the truck van, is that works for me in my business because I crunch the numbers and it's easy. It's not as easy for other people. The
Hmm.
U-Haul place is, I don't know, a quarter of a mile away from my house. So
Yeah.
it takes me all of 5 minutes to drive down there, get the van, bring it back. So I'm not spending a ton of time or a ton of money just getting it and driving it back to me. Whereas I don't think that most people live that close to a U-Haul place. It's going to be much more time intensive to go there, get it, bring it back, take it back. It's going to cost more money because you have to pay for the mileage to even bring it home. So like I said, a lot of those things in my business and how I've decided to run it are really kind of luck of the draw for
Yeah.
me. But I don't have a whole lot of overhead. Really, the biggest overhead items that I have are I work with a company called Collective that does all of my bookkeeping,
Mm.
accounting, payroll, all of that. So I spend money with them every month. And then like my website platform, those types of things. And that's really it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm similar. I have one part-time employee, and that actually is a big expense once you get into like payroll and all those things because the you have to pay for payroll and you have to pay for the service and sometimes you're like, is this even worth it? I'm paying more than I'm paying her just to have this. But bookkeeping is a huge, thing that I have outsourced. And again, I'm not employing a bookkeeper. I've just hired a professional bookkeeping service. I have a virtual assistant who I do not employ. She is a virtual assistant for lots of people. And like anyone listening can hire her, let Nicole help. She does all the techie stuff for me. So I think you can have like air quotes employees without employing people. And that's just been my preference, which financially obviously keeps things lean. But like for me, I also think part of the equation is the mental capacity of like what it means to employ someone. For me, it's way more stressful to get enough work to keep multiple people paid than it is to just not do those jobs. Like I think different people have different passions. Some people really feel passionate about employing people and giving them a paycheck and like providing that service. I don't have that passion. I am like, I want to pay myself a salary. And then if there's enough for other people, amazing. But like, I love just being able to take a weekend off because I don't want to work and not have to worry about like, what are they going to do? What's my staff going to do? Oh my gosh. That's how I have structured my business.
Yeah, I I would agree with that. I have a lot of contracted employees. I do have a woman who owns her own teardown service. I'm going to give her a plug here because I've been telling her that she needs to franchise her business
Yes. Yes.
forever.
A strike
Um,
company. I would pay so much to have someone just responsible to go get my stuff.
yes. So her name is Karen. She owns a company called Strike Squad AZ. If you're listening, look her up on social media, tell her I sent you, and convince her to franchise.
Yes, 100%.
um, So she does most of my teardowns for me. It's really easy because again, I'm not employing her. I'm paying her, but the client, I'm just baking her fees into the client's invoice. So
Mm.
the client is essentially paying her. I'm just kind of the middleman fielding that for her. I have people who inflate for me, very similar to a lot of other people in this industry. I pay per foot for what they
Hmm.
inflate. It's $1 per foot. So all of those are just contracted employees. They can go and work other places because similar to what you were saying, the thing that stresses me out is feeling responsible for another person's entire career.
Yes.
I don't want to screw someone over. Like, if God forbid my business goes south tomorrow, it's okay if I let myself down, but I don't want to let somebody else down. So I do think that for me, there's a little bit of a fear in that. But I also just really like the flexibility, like you said, of having contracted employees that I don't have to find 30 hours of work to do every single week. I can just kind of use them as and when it's needed.
I agree. I agree. And there are limitations, and that's what we were talking about. Like that is a choice that we are making that no, we are never going to get to the $1 million. You cannot do it alone. Um,
Mhm.
but for me, that's okay. And sometimes I crunch the numbers. I mean, granted, someone who has $1 million company is making more than I do, but I'm in a town of 7,000 people. So to get to the $500,000 mark, I'm now expanding my radius quite a bit to get that business, which means I'm expanding either my time in the van delivering or someone else's. So then I'm expanding my payroll and then I'm expanding my liability and my responsibility. And I think of it, it's like this teeter-totter or like a ladder, it's like I think I'm at the top rung of this solopreneur ladder. The next step I take, I'm going to be at the bottom rung of that like mid-sized business. And you need to get three-quarters of the way up that ladder before you're making any more money than you were as the solopreneur. Like, yes, there's benefits, but there's also trade-offs, like once you have employees, you have payroll and you have employee what is it? I just had to pay a fine because I didn't have it in time. Workman's comp. Like there's all these other fees that come along with it. And I think it's totally okay to stay small and just maximize the money that you are pulling out of your business now. And then the other argument that I get, because I hear people yelling at me through my headphones, is like, oh, but then you'll never be able to sell your business. If it's just you, you'll never be able to sell your business. What is your thought about that?
I think about that a lot. And to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if I would ever be able to sell my business. I see a lot of, event planners selling their businesses. I see other balloon professionals selling their businesses. Who knows how much they're selling them for and really what that all entails. But ultimately, that has never been my goal with this business. I think one of the most important things to keep in mind when you're deciding, do I want to continue to grow or am I content with where I am, is what was your goal when you initially started the business? Was your goal that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and have a really large scale successful organization? If so, then that's awesome. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing. For me, my goal was that I wanted to have a creative outlet for myself. I wanted to make my own money so that we had more money to spend on schooling and all that stuff. And I also wanted more flexibility to be with my kids. Those were all of the things that were the most important to me. And so I do feel like I have achieved those things, and I am now comfortable in where I am because I'm making six figures. I'm making literally take home as much or more than I was when I was in my corporate role. And I also, like you were mentioning, I get to choose if I want to take a weekend off or if I want to take a whole week off, and I don't have to ask anybody. And that was the whole point, was that I wanted both freedom in my day-to-day life and my time, and also monetary freedom. So I really do think it's just kind of about what your goal was when you initially started the business.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. I think for me, like the ultimate luxury is freedom. I get to choose where I go to lunch and when I go to the bathroom. And I didn't get to do those things when I was a teacher.
Yep.
I couldn't leave and I couldn't take a day off and I had no personal time. So what I maybe, I guess, sacrificing, it's not even true because there is no sacrifice financially. I mean, I was in a very poor career before I started balloons. So yeah, like you said, I have the financial freedom, I have the time freedom, and for me, those are kind of the things that I think are maybe going to be sacrificed if I continue to grow. And maybe I'll change eventually. My kids are young right now. Maybe eventually I'll be like, I'm going to blow this thing up and I have all the time in the world and I can't wait to really ramp things up. But right now, yeah, life is good and I don't want to just keep growing because I feel like I should.
Right. Yeah. I hear this quote. I think Jam, you just were talking to Jam a little bit ago from Garden Place Balloons. I love him. I think he's just like a ray of sunshine. Something that he has said multiple times is run your business the way that you want it to be 5 years from now. So whatever your vision for your business is, start running it that way now, even if it's not at that point yet. And I do think that is really, really valuable advice for people, because again, it's going back to kind of what was your goal on the outset of creating the business. But I also think it's okay to not have the goal of being a multi-million-dollar business and doing all of the balloon decor in your entire state and, traveling across state lines to do more balloon decor. Like, that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's nice to have more of those kind of boutique balloon businesses. And then, you've also got places like Balloon Therapy, and they can take on more jobs and all of that. There really is just enough business for everybody for you to run your business the way that you really want to.
I love it. Well, let's take a quick break and then I want to get into a little bit of FOMO, because when you give up certain things in your business, you sometimes give up opportunities, or you can't travel and you see other people growing, and it can mess with your head, I think. So we will get into that after the break. If you haven't checked out Having a Party yet, now is the time. The great team over at Having a Party Wholesale carries a huge selection of high-quality balloons and supplies to take your designs to the next level, including HiFloat, this month's sponsor. Plus, they're more than just a supplier. They're committed to education, helping balloon professionals grow their skills and businesses, and investing in our industry. And here's something extra. Get 5% off orders over $200 using the code podcast at checkout. Don't miss out on the latest and greatest in balloons. Shop now at havinaparty.com and keep creating with the best supplies in the industry. All right, welcome back. With our decisions that we've been talking about, no matter what they are, I think if you decide to grow, you might have FOMO of going to your kids' soccer games that you're missing. And if you decide not to grow, you might not have all the pretty Instagram pictures to post. Like, I just think no matter what we do, our brains love to just convince us we're big dumb losers and everyone else is doing it better. So what are some of the things that you have noticed you might struggle with, as you're kind of intentionally limiting the growth of your business?
Oh gosh. I mean, I think the biggest one is social media. Social media is such, it's a blessing and a curse in this type of industry. It's very visual. So we have to be on social media. We have to be showing the things that we're doing. But on the flip side, it is constant 24/7 being inundated with the highlight reel of everybody else. And that can be so challenging. I do feel like over the last couple of years, I've gotten better at not allowing my, sensitivities to that really get in the way. But it's still an issue, I think, for everybody, because I have a lot of people who, I run an online business school specifically for balloon professionals. And in that, people are like, I can't believe you don't have a truck. Why don't you have a truck yet? That's free marketing. Like, every time you drive down the street, people are going to see your truck and they're going to know who you are. And I see other people with trucks and vans and they look beautiful. And in my head, I'm like, gosh, you're right. Maybe I should have a truck. Like, all these people look so cool when they're showing all of their beautiful vans on social media. But I have to be confident in the fact that I have crunched the numbers and I know my business better than anybody else. And so I know what makes sense for me and what doesn't make sense. But that just constant comparing to the highlight reels of everybody else is so challenging. I was just talking to somebody the other day. She DM'd me on Instagram because I had been saying what events I had for this week. And she was like, gosh, I really wish that my business was as busy as yours. That's my goal for the future. And I was like, well, one of those events is free. I'm donating it. It's for a high school prom right over there. The other event I gave half off because that's for a nonprofit organization here. So like, just because you're seeing that people are busy all the time and they're doing 15 setups in a day does not mean that they're actually more successful than you. And I think that's the biggest disconnect, is comparing what you're seeing with success. And that might not be the case.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. And I think my mantra, this is so bad, but everyone lies. That's what I tell myself. Anytime I'm on social media, I'm just like, everyone lies. Like, they lie about their numbers. They lie. And it all comes from insecurity. And I've done it too. Like, you're in a room and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I have 15 jobs this weekend. And you're like, yeah, so do I. And you have like one, it's like, you just don't want to feel like the one who's not performing the best. But everyone lies. They don't even mean to. Sometimes it's just sugar coated what their life looks like. But like, you never know how successful people are. You never know how happy they are. I mean, like, I think we've all seen these amazing businesses and then like, overnight they go out of business, or someone's quietly going through a horrible divorce. Like, you just never know. And social media is the devil. It's like, you have to be on there, but it can make you feel so bad about yourself so quickly. And it's just hard that we constantly have to put ourselves through that.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think the other thing too is people, again, it's a highlight reel. People want to show the best of the things that they're doing. And, so do I, so do you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point of social media. It's a living portfolio for us. But yeah, it can be really challenging to remember. I 100% agree with you. Everybody lies. Everybody, even our clients lie.
Well, and I think sometimes people don't even know. They don't even know what their numbers are, so they're unintentionally sounding like they're doing more. Like, everyone loves to share their sales numbers, and I'm just like, let's only share our take-home pay. That is the only thing I care about.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many times I have heard that from people. Like, I made $100,000 last year. It's like, okay, did you make $100,000 in sales, or did you earn $100,000 for your paychecks.
I know. I literally only track. My goal is to pay myself $100,000 because in my mind, that's still that's a ton of money. Like I never made that at my corporate job. And I feel like when I meet with my bookkeeper, Elisabeth Fiore, like she goes through my profit loss and I think she can just see me like glaze over because I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how much I did in sales because all I care about is what is in my bank account. Like
Right.
I want to do it as efficiently as possible, but like some big shiny sales number for me is like, meh, whatever, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I feel like I remember you saying this in a podcast episode like years ago. You were talking about the pumpkin plan and
Mm.
kind of what people's I think it was in the same one, what people's motivations are. And every time I hear people say that their motivation isn't the money, I'm always really confused. It's not that I don't believe them, because maybe it's not, but I am so money motivated.
Yeah. Oh, me
And
too.
I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I just want to make sure I'm getting a good paycheck. That's all I
Yes.
want.
Yes, and I heard Jill Shortreed taught a class at Fulcrum, which I went to. It's like the off year of Float. And it's kind of businessy and we were doing something pretty awful. I don't even know. It was like, oh, it was ceiling fringe and it was like double swagged and like the magnet like fell down and got all tangled and you could just see the people in the class being like like we were all so frustrated and Jill just like didn't sweat it and she was like if you guys are getting mad, you're not charging enough. Like if you're angry making a piece of decor, you're not charging enough because I'm super excited to do something annoying and frustrating and terrible if the paycheck's good. Like and it's true. I think a lot of times when I'm like god, I hate making these things. It's like I'm probably not charging enough for that thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's such a good way to think of it because that's exactly right. Every time I have been the most annoyed doing setups, it's because I feel like I'm being ripped off.
Because I
It
didn't
was
charge
like,
enough,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, I either didn't charge them correctly or I gave them a discount and I shouldn't have, or whatever the case is. And those are the only times I'm frustrated. If I'm charging accurately, I'm like, well, this is annoying, but I'm making good money. So I guess
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
going
I'm being paid to sit here and wait for your job to end or like I'm
to.
getting a late fee assessed right now. This is great. I
Yes.
agree. I'm super motivated by money. I think um maybe people aren't if they're like into the artistry. I could see twisters just like really loving, getting a piece exactly right, but I think you have to find what makes you tick. And for me, like I love not only it's not even like having the money. I'm such a save-aholic. I don't even spend it. I just like making it. I like getting the sale and like seeing the little invoice thing come through as a notification on my phone. Like I love that. And I think yeah, when you crunch the numbers and you see like, "Oh, I know where that money is going. I worked hard for that money." If it's going places that are not, feeding my bottom line, that's when I go back to my lean roots and I try to cut some of that spending.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I this might be kind of an aside, but I'd love to talk about kind of the difference between really large scale setups and more of kind of the small medium scale setups because going back to, not being in a hyper growth mindset right now, for me that's also including not doing as large of setups as often. I last year and in 2023, I was fortunate enough to get some really great opportunities and did some very large scale event setups. Like upwards of like $30,000 setups for my business, which is awesome. And that sounds amazing. But what I have found is that my profit margin is actually not as good with those larger setups because I have to hire significantly
Hmm.
more people to come help me. A lot of times it's something where I'm going to need to rent a scissor lift or multiple trucks to carry everything in. It's weeks worth of prep work, all of that stuff. So the profit margin for me is actually better when I'm doing those kind of mid-range setups that range from like 2,000 to maybe $7,000. Those are really the sweet spot because I can still do those myself. They don't take as much time, but they're generating really good revenue for my business. So that is another thing that I'm kind of going away from. It's not that, if somebody knocked on my door tomorrow and they said, we'll give you $100,000 to go do this setup, it's not like I would say no,
Right.
but I'm not actively seeking them out. And I'm also
Absolutely.
reminding myself that I don't need those in order to feel successful.
Well, and it's interesting. So in real life, I recorded an episode with Jam this morning, and in listener world, his episode will have come out the week before you. So these are great. These are two, like a 1-2 punch, because he echoed a lot of what you're saying. Like he did these luxurious, amazing New York City jobs, and he has pivoted to like a lot of $200 or $300 delivery pieces. And he said the people are so grateful. They are so thrilled. The stakes are lower, and sometimes the profit is higher. And I've been pretty transparent about a big job that I have annually. It's $100,000 job. And I've also shared numbers that like my take home from that is $20,000, which I'm not saying $20,000 isn't a lot of money, but I plan for a year and really, really focus for a good 2 months. Like I do not take jobs for the 2 months kind of surrounding that event. And then it's 10 days to load in. I pay people. We do the job. It's open for 10 days and I go every single day and I do repairs. I have to do a takedown. Like, and when I think about what $20,000 of profit over 2 months of regular jobs is, it's A, not that hard to get there. And B, the stakes are a lot lower. Like you're not juggling all these things. You're not designing on that level. Like you could do $20,000 in columns and arches in 2 months fairly comfortably if you've been around for a while. So I'm not saying that the big jobs aren't awesome. They are super fun. They're career highlights for sure. But I love the easy stuff. I will happily do a spiral column any day of the week.
Yes, I agree. I've actually been getting more into classic decor lately. I have always been an organic girly, and I have always had. I'm so sorry for everybody who's listening who does classic decor. I have learned from my mistakes, but I originally was like, I don't want to do classic decor. Like that's not as cute. That's not as fun. That's not as interesting. What a mistake that was, because classic decor, and obviously you can make great profits with organic also, but classic decor is so easy.
hmm
It's so fast and it is such a good moneymaker. Are you going to charge as much for a classic column as you would for, a 10-foot organic balloon garland? Probably not. But a classic column takes me 15 minutes to put together.
Yep.
I go drop it off. That takes me 5 minutes and I'm done.
hmm
So the other thing that I think people sometimes forget about is the value of your time. Like there is a dollar amount associated with your time. If you're not associating a dollar amount with your time, you're doing yourself a big disservice, because that's time away from your family. It's time away from doing other things that you enjoy doing. It's time away from self-care. And we have all been in situations where we're so inundated with work that we forget to shower and take care of ourselves.
Right.
So you do have to think about that value of your actual time and what the dollar amount is for that. And doing things like Jam has always been talking about. I actually just went to his course last night on how to do freestanding balloon garlands. Like selling those really easy, fast grab and go items is such a great and easy moneymaker for a business. And you don't have to leave your house or you don't have to leave your studio. And it's just like you can make a couple $1,000 worth of columns in 3 hours and you're done.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on, how much value you're putting on your own time. That can really kind of sway how you view these large scale events and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have kind of a question that just popped up as I'm looking at your studio on our Zoom call here. And this is not related to anything except these fast drop off items. Do you offer helium?
I do. Yes.
You do. Okay. Because I know some people
begrudgingly.
You what?
Begrudgingly, yes.
Oh, sure. You don't like it?
No.
Is it expensive by you?
It's actually not that bad here. So I have a large size tank. I get to rent the tank from a company locally. It's $8 a month to rent the tank. And then to fill that tank usually costs about between $350 and $400.
Okay.
And that lasts me a good chunk of time. So it's not as expensive as it is in a lot of other places.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you just mostly add it then as like an add-on if someone requests it?
I do. I offer jumbo helium balloons on my website as a grab and go item. Typically, people are using that as an add-on item, not as a standalone. So I don't really promote helium a whole ton. I'll do it a lot for corporate clients because they want to add it on to another design. But I just personally really dislike working with helium because I just don't like the volatility of all of it. So I don't really promote it a ton.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, this has been wonderful. And we have one more break and then some final questions to wrap up with. But I am, before we get into those, I'm just curious, what advice do you have, kind of wrapping this whole episode up in with a little bow? I think there's probably a lot of people listening who are thinking, yeah, like, thank you. It's okay to pump the brakes. How do you do that without getting the FOMO, without feeling like you're not living up to your potential, without leaving money on the table? Like, do you have any strategies that someone who's like, I'm just trying to take all the jobs and grow, like, what do I do to actually put a cap on this and maximize?
I think you have to just be really diligent with yourself. I don't know if I have like one size fits all advice for how to do it. I would say make a decision and be very secure in that decision of how you want to move forward with your business, because you will face FOMO. You will see other people on social media having these big giant jobs and doing a lot more setups than you if you're deciding not to grow exponentially. And you just need to be confident in the decision that you've made. And again, think back to your why. Why have you made this choice in your business? Is it because you want to spend more time with your kids? Is it because you want a little bit more, just financial freedom, but you also want to have life freedom? Be confident in those choices that you're making and just block out all the rest of the noise as much as possible.
I love it. All right, let's take one quick break and then we will wrap it up with our final three questions. Hey friends, quick question. Do you ever feel like you're winging it when it comes to client inquiries? Or maybe they book once and you're just hoping they come back next year? That's exactly why I created Stay Booked, a new course that teaches my complete plug and play system to help you book clients quickly and, most importantly, get them coming back year after year. I'll show you how to build a little internal sales machine that generates consistent and easy sales annually. This has become the backbone to my balloon business. You'll get email templates, an annual tracking strategy, my full booking and rebooking workflows, and more. This is like putting a little GPS tracker on every single client so you always know where they are in your process and what step comes next. You'll never lose track of a client again or waste energy thinking about what you should be doing. This is a simple, tech-free solution for getting consistent annual sales, and it's only $27. So what do you have to lose? Grab it now in the link in the show notes so this year you can stay booked. All right, welcome back. Let's wrap it up. Where is your favorite place to go on vacation?
It used to be London, England. That will always be a really wonderful spot in my heart. But I think now that I have small kids, my favorite is Disneyland. We go there like once or twice a year, and it's just so happy. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't call myself like a Disney adult by any means, but it is fun to have a place familiar to them that they look forward to, and then they see Mickey Mouse. Like, I get it. Now that I'm a mom, I'm like, yeah, and it's easy. Oh my gosh, they just make everything so easy there. I love it.
Yes.
All right, next question. What is something that you've purchased recently that you are loving?
So I guess I don't need to show it to you because this is a podcast, but I bought the Legenda. I don't even know which one it is, but it's the Legenda inflator. And it was my only like fancy inflator that I've ever purchased. I got it maybe like, I don't know, 8 months ago or so. Up until then, I was using good old Pinky, the
Oh
pink
my gosh,
inflator.
the pink inflator. I forgot
Yes.
about all the pink inflator drama. Are you
Yes.
the pink inflator
No.
Instagram account?
Do you have any idea how many
is
people have
it?
asked me that? I actually do know, but I have been sworn to secrecy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think that's so funny. I hope that person takes it to their grave. That is so funny.
But,
okay, so you had the pink one and now you've upgraded
yeah,
a little bit.
the pink inflator was fantastic, but because I have been diving in more to classic decor, I love that this one has the ability for me to size my balloons. And it's got a little foot pump. I love it. It inflates double stuffed 5-inch balloons. It inflates 260s. Amazing.
Do you have the one that does two different sizes at the same time?
Yes.
I
So
just
it's
got that
not,
one too.
My gosh, it's amazing. But here's the thing about it is that it's not advertised as being able to do two different sizes, one on each side. It's advertised as just one size, but you can do two sizes. I still don't know exactly which combination of buttons I have to press to do it. So I just end up pressing a bunch of buttons until I make it work. But I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I got that when I started wanting to do more like rainbows or like the cupcake. Anytime you're doing two duplets, but one balloon is one size and the other, because that'll slow you down a lot if you're trying to do like, multiple sizes. So yeah, I love mine as well. I'll put a link. I'll find a link or something to it so people can see what we're talking about, but I love mine.
Yeah.
All right. And last question. What is a piece of business advice? You've given us so much already, but a little nugget that you can leave us with.
Okay, so pricing. I know you just did a podcast episode about transparent pricing. My biggest piece of advice is for your pricing, be transparent. Put it on your website, put it on your Instagram page. We have got to stop being so secretive in this industry about our pricing because it doesn't help anyone. It really doesn't. I think the biggest concern that people have about being open and honest with their pricing is that they're afraid that another balloon stylist is going to come in and purposely undercut them so they can get all of the business. First of all, that's a silly fear to have because if somebody really is doing that, the only person that they're not serving is themselves because they're leaving money on the table. And second of all, if we were all more open and honest with our pricing, then the number one question that every balloon stylist has is how the heck do I price myself and how do I come up with the numbers? If we were all transparent with what our numbers are, then we wouldn't be having all of these issues with people accidentally undercutting.
I know. If you don't publish your prices, they're not even knowing. They might be undercutting you by $100 unintentionally when normally they would have just done it by $5.
Right. So my biggest piece of advice is be toxically transparent with your pricing. Just talk about it all the time. If somebody asks you, just tell them because it's going to help everybody in the long run.
Yeah, I love it. Well, cool. Where can we find you? And tell us just in a sentence or two about your school, your academy. What do we call it?
Sure. So the overarching umbrella is called Balloon University. That houses 3 different programs in there. So first one is the custom color recipe book. So that's the largest custom color guide on the market. Second one is the School of Business, and that's where I educate event professionals on just how to run a successful multi-figure business. And then the third one is the School of Design, which is the more traditional just tutorials for how to do balloon stuff. So you can find that all. It's linked on my website, which is popofcoloraz.com. You can find me on Instagram at popofcoloraz. I've always got my lovely morning face and hair on stories. So that's always exciting. And yeah, I guess that's it.
Well, cool. Well, everyone go ahead and give Elisabeth a follow over there. You're always sharing some juicy stories about what product has betrayed you, like your Cricut. I was following along. I was so invested in that whole saga. So you got to go and give her a follow.
I also want to say thank you so much to HiFloat. I have been working with them since the beginning of the year, and they're the whole reason that I'm on here right now. So they are fantastic. I obviously use HiFloat in all of my helium balloons. If you're not, you need to because they will make them last so much longer. And I am a huge, huge, huge proponent of their newest High Shine aerosol spray.
Same.
It's amazing. It is hands down the best aerosol spray that I have found for shine because it doesn't give me even half as much overspray as what I get from other ones. I cannot recommend it more. It's amazing.
I've been late to the shine party, but lately for different reasons I've been using it to kind of extend. And when I put it on there, I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. They look amazing. So yes, huge High Shine fan over here as well. Well, yes. Thank you so much. It was so great to catch up, and I will be following along as always.
Thanks, Sarah. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.